Many of us have little gaps in the garden that we just want instantly filled. And how do we get away with that? How do we do it right? So let's first understand what is out there that we can use. Well, first of all, you can buy little plants like this in seedling trays. So there's 6 little plants. Generally, you'll find these in every single garden centre. And these are little violas. And, you know, even right now in September, you can still be planting violas and pansies, and they'll go right through until December. The most important thing with them is that if you've got them planted in your garden or you're just popping them in now, is always remember to deadhead them. So when a little flower starts dying, it starts going over, just remember to take your thumb and your forefinger, just break it off. And in that way, what you're going to be doing is encouraging some new growth. The more often we take off these dead heads, of which seeds are going to start developing on, the more it's forced to produce flowers because we're removing the seeds. So that's our one option, are these little guys. Our second option is to buy them in bags. Well, here's an instant plant. These, what we call in the trade, we call them colour bags. And really, it's one of these little plants that has been grown on for about 6 weeks. So it's much bigger, it's more instant. And really, if you're short on patience, then this is the way you need to go. It is a bit more expensive, but you get a real instant effect in your garden. And you'll take a look around your garden centre. You'll find things like violas, pansies. You'll even find some beautiful petunias. And you can feel free to plant any of these now, because you know that you're going to get at least 3 to 4 months of flowering out of them, which is going to be great. And especially for those little nooks where we just want to give it a bit of a lift. So let's go and see what we're going to put into the garden to create a bit of impact of colour. So this is the little area that I've got. You can see absolutely nothing growing there. I've got some poppies that are doing their thing. Beautiful alyssum in the foreground. And folks, that is another one of those filler plants that you can put in all year round. You can buy them in the trays or in the bags. And I love alyssum. Why? Because it's got this most sweetest honey scent. And not only that, but the white looks beautiful in the garden. So first up, to get prepped, is I just need to turn the soil. And this garden I plant very often because it's my colour zone, so the soil is very loose, which is why I only need a little trowel just to turn it over with. Right, so here we've got a few bits and pieces. Let's get those out. And now, of course, put in some compost. Every time that you're able to plant, guys, get this good compost in, because it just makes all the difference. There we go, that should do the trick. And let's just dig it in and turn it into the soil. When you come across clods like this, break it up to make it easier for the plants and turn your soil over nicely. Once we've turned it over, just use your hands because it's such a small area, and you can just smooth out your planting area. Alrighty, the next step that we're going to do is we're going to be using a new fertilizer product. And all that we do is, it's labeled number 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, you need to put down 2 weeks before planting. But you know, this is TV, so I don't have 2 weeks to wait around. So I'm putting it in. But folks, the most important thing is that you need to follow the instructions on everything. But I really just want to demonstrate to you what needs to be done. So you're going to put down, it's 40 grams per square meter based on the instructions. And then you're going to water that in. You don't even need to dig it in. You can literally just put it onto the soil and then water it in. Your next step that you need to do is to plant, okay? And I've decided that I'm going to be using these gorgeous little violas. And you know, the thing about violas, folks, is that they seem to be tougher against the temperature changes when we start going into the height of summer. So we find that during the end of September and October, when the temperatures start really getting a bit higher, that the violas tend to be that much more resistant. And that's particularly why I enjoy using them. So let's just pop these little guys in here, looking great. And notice the spacing that I'm using, literally about 10 centimeters. And you do the same with alyssum if you were buying it, or with petunias. Let's get our next little baby in. Fantastic. You know, you can see when you plant in a group like this, it really does just lift the whole area. And that's why I say, when you are spending money on annuals, or seedlings as we call them, rather put them in nice little groups and try and buy at least 3 trays of one color because it just gives you that better impact. Next up, we're going to take bag number 2 and we're going to use a very small amount, literally around the plants. Remember this as a fertilizer, it does have some organic products in it, but folks, try not to put it on top of the plants. As soon as you do that, you stand the chance of burning them, and that's with any fertilizer. So sprinkle a small bit around, there we go. This can be used on flowers, lawns, and basically anything that you want to flower or fruit. Right, that's the second step done, finished. You're gonna let these guys grow, and then in 4 weeks' time, you're gonna apply the third step, which is the third packet in here, and literally you can apply that to your entire garden. If you haven't followed 1 and 2, you can still just go straight to 3 and you'll see a difference. Remember that you can add fertilizer to your garden literally from the time it starts warming up. During the winter months, you can use a liquid fertilizer, but not any granular forms. And it's important always to get your prep right. So that's always making sure that whenever you plant, you're adding loads of compost into the soil.